All right, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna give it till a few more minutes. Y'all just have to catch the replay, I guess. Alrighty, so welcome YouTube. So let me tell you, I said I wasn't gonna do a live stream, but I was gonna wait and see if anybody comes on. But so far, nope. So what's the things you do not do as a gig worker when it comes to taxes? Number one, the number one thing you do not want to do when it comes to being a gig worker is how you who do you choose to do your tax return. For number one, I say that is because there's a public service announcement in regards to what they call ghost preparers. Ghost preparers are basically someone who try to do taxes on the side and take your information, charge you money, but they don't sign that tax return. Number one, I know I heard in a previous someone's channel they was talking about you could make money on the side doing taxes. Yes, that is true. However, you must also register for a PTIN number at the IRS. Now, it is a charge that you have to pay to get a PTIN number. PTIN number. You have to be in good standing with the IRS for one, meaning that you don't have no tax issues and outstanding tax issues, first of all. And two, you have to pay a fee. It's not free. And every year you have to pay a fee to get a PTIE number, and you must be approved to get it. Otherwise, if you're doing taxes on the side and you're not registered a PTIN number, you're not only affecting the person who did your return, because if you're a person who went and said, "Oh, I'm gonna go let someone else do it. I'm gonna do it." Now, if this person said they'll do it with no fee and all that kind of stuff, number one, if the information is incorrect, it's not going to come automatically, and the IRS is not going to notify you when it comes to an audit. Meaning they are auditing the return, because when you sign that return, whether you sign it paper or electronically, you're stating that the information you submitted is accurate and true, and you also kept records of those deductions that you took. So when the IRS comes back to someone, say 2-3 years down the road, and they ask you, oh, we need proof about these miles, we need proof of these expenses. It's not simply about, oh, I could just show my credit card statement. It's not even about that. You must keep records, accurate records in regards to that. Now, there is a tax clinic. It is a specific tax clinic that pertains to gig workers on the irs.gov website. And you go to small business, and it lists literally every single small business industry there ever is and how to do keep record keeping. Because a tax preparer is only putting information what you give and documents. So throughout the year, you keep track of your information. You keep track of your miles if you're driving Uber or whatever. You keep track of your miles. You can either use an app to keep track of your miles. You keep track of any type of expenses that's related to the business. Another thing that people need to realize when it comes to being with taxes in the gig economy workers is that a lot of people that I'm speaking to on the phone with Intuit, they're not paying any taxes when they get unemployment. They're not paying the unemployment taxes. Let me turn this thing. Hold on. They're not paying unemployment. They get unemployment 1099-G, and they're not paying any taxes on that unemployment. And as a result of not paying those taxes and you get unemployment, especially if you got that $600 plus whatever your state unemployment is, some people are getting, like I said before, $600 plus, say Georgia's $300, $900 a week, $3,600 a month. You getting unemployment, even if you get unemployment for half a year, 6 months, and you getting $3,600 a month, and you getting, say, even if you got like $24,000 of unemployment or $20,000 of unemployment, or even $15,000 for that matter, for the year, and no taxes are paid on that income, you're going to owe taxes. Not only are you going to owe the taxes, if you get unemployment and you do Uber and Lyft and Grubhub or whatever, you cannot substantiate offsetting the income by not paying the estimated taxes. Now, estimated taxes is big. Like I don't know how many times I got to keep saying it over and over again. Estimated taxes is not based on just a percentage of what you think it is. There's actually a worksheet that you can fill out on the irs.gov website that'll tell you what is your quarterly estimated taxes that you're supposed to pay. That's quarterly. So April 15, September, December, and January of the following year is the quarterly taxes that you have to pay. And if you and there's a way that you can calculate it. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And it's a form that you fill out and you complete it. So don't go by what you hear on YouTube. Oh, I could just write off. You can't write off the expense. You got to pay the tax because the tax system is a pay-as-you-go system. So the other thing that I see people doing in the gig economy when it comes to taxes is not knowing how to read. One of the things I could tell you with TurboTax and all these other softwares, it's already built and calculated in the figures. So when you answer general questions, it's a matter of answering the questions. Your questions is determined by the forms that you're going to need to fill out. It's not rocket science. It's not some kind of mystery and anything. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. It's not something you have to like, well, I don't know how you do that and just totally be overthinking it. I speak to people on the phone and they call. Well, I don't know what this means. They're not even beginning to do the return. It's asking you. Like, let me give you an example. This one lady, she gonna file separate from her husband. They gonna file separate, and it asks, what filing status will you be filing? That means you have to ask him, what is he filing? Both parties have to be filing the same thing. If you filing married separate, you're not talking to the husband. She wasn't talking to the husband no more. I said, well, you don't have to talk to him. Text him and ask him. What filing status will you be filing for your tax return this year? Because it has to match. Otherwise, it's a penalty. And it clearly said that right there in black and white. So basically, it's like I'm talking with people on the phone, but at the same time, I'm just saying what's on the screen. I'm asking the same question, and then I'm like, da 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 da, whatever. Is that yes or no? Or no? And I'm like, man, I know that. I said, shoot, I'm not. All I'm doing is reading and just regurgitating the information, and that's it. But when it came to some people who were doing, now I started to take a lot of, now I'm taking calls where people are doing gig work. Like one guy, he did Turo. I said, oh, I'm very familiar with Turo. So he was like, well, I didn't get a 1099K because they said I didn't make enough money. I said, sir, 1099K has nothing to do with the income. 1099K is if you paid fees. And I gave him an example. I said, let me give you an example. Someone, and it applies to all the platforms all across the board. I said, say you was a TurboTax. You were a Uber driver, and you leased, and at one point people were able to lease the cars. And I said, every week they pay those fees. Those fees that you pay shows up on the schedule K1. So if you had $10,000 worth of fees, that's showing schedule K1, then you get one. So in your case, you was leasing your car, and then I said, well, how much money you made during the Turo when you leased the car? I said, because if you make over $600, they'll give you a 1099 miscellaneous. He said he didn't get it. I said, okay, well, you may want to contact Turo about giving you that 1099 miscellaneous. So things that people are doing is just because you didn't get the form right there and there, it doesn't mean that they're not going to give you one. They have it till the end of the month, February. You have it till the end of the month to get all your tax return documentation like W-2s, 1099. Another thing that I see people make is they move. They moved, never changed their address with the post office. They living on somebody's couch. Don't have no, moving all over the place. And don't have an address. So in the meantime, you move, but you never forward your address. You never change your address at the post office. So in the meantime, you get a letter from the IRS because they will send you a letter to whatever your last known address. So if you in between or whatever the situation is, even if you were living in a hotel and if you could get a post office to get your mail delivered, get your mail forwarded and delivered to somewhere that you get your mail, even if it's at your mama house, you want to make sure that you have some form of address. So that way, when the IRS starts sending letters, you get it, regardless of your situation. Even when I was watching these van life YouTubers, they live in a van and they go to different campgrounds all over the place. They have a post office box in whatever state they may go back to. So that way, if you get any letters you still could get the letter and it's sent to an address. Some of these post office even have physical address where you still could get a letter, where you still get notification. So as a gig worker, make sure that you have some form of address. Who's in here? I see 4 people. Go ahead, give me a thumbs up or say hey or hi so I know you're in here. So, hey, Sexy P. So, a lot of people that I'm speaking to that's in these gig jobs and the ones who get W-2s, they calling in. I don't know why. Oh, I never. Oh, I'm sorry. I know it could be. Hey, I ain't seen your name in a minute. Hey, Romeo. Life, are you? Look, where you been? I ain't seen you in like a few years. Unless you're a different person and I don't know who you are, but go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, I know you're probably not on my subscription list no more. Hey, Romeo. So I'm just going over some things. I said I was going to do live stream about it, but I said I need to come on here. Oh, y'all see my bike in the background? Look. You see it? Ta-da! Boy, I went on that bike the other day, and I was on there for like 15, not even 15 minutes. Okay, making sure, because I ain't seen you in a long time. Where you been? So, boy, but I went on my bike for the first time. I didn't even do the program yet. I had to pay the program. I haven't even did the classes yet, and I was just spinning on it. It was probably like 7 minutes, and already I was like, oh my God. So I said, ooh, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. But so maybe I need to change my expectations to do 60 minutes. I said, I'm gonna do 60 minutes 5 days a week. Maybe I need to start off doing 30 minutes. I'll see what happens when I do the program in the classes tomorrow. But I know it's going to be a good challenge, but it's going to be good, all good. We need to get back in shape. So anyway, so as a gig worker, doing whether it's not even have to be Uber and Grubhub and all those other gigs, you must know how to keep accurate records. I know that people say, "Oh, I keep track of my miles on the app." Yes, that's good to do, but also when it asks for expenses, you just can't exaggerate. I get people calling in, I bought gifts for my employees, and I wrote right there what the tax law says about gifts. It must be verifiable. Well, I appreciate that. It must be verifiable. It must be, there's limits, you know. So say I bought gifts and it was part of a employee gifts. It's $25 per person with the date and the it's you have to be good at documentation. And documentation is not the responsibility of the person who does your tax return. It is your responsibility that you keep records. Even if you wrote it, even if you kept it in a simple book. Like if that's all you have to do. And everything don't have to be app related and put on an app. Even if you kept buy a 99-cent Dollar Tree notebook and put that notebook exclusively as it relates to your business, whether you do Uber or whatever. So every time you go to, for instance, eating and you driving about those meals that you were doing while you were doing those gig work, 50% of what you spend is taxable. But you must keep track of your receipts and you write the date and you write the time. You can write it down in a book. Just put the receipt in the book or whatever, and then at the end, when it's time when someone goes and do your return, you have information written down. So that way, if I was to do your taxes and I say, okay, give me your book, And then I could decipher through all those receipts and stuff. But if it's related to, if you own the work, if you own the job at the time, you're doing gig work, you're eating food, whatever, make money and gas, just put it in an envelope or put it in a book and write it down. That's it. Just write it down. It don't have to be complicated. And and that's another thing. Keep track of your information throughout the year. Now, this is February 15th. So we still got time to keep good record keeping for next year because every tax year things going to change. Every tax year things changes. And also start setting money, not don't set the money aside and say, okay, I'll pay this later. You must know how to calculate your estimated tax payments, and there is a worksheet where you can do it. But that's a whole nother video. The other mistake that people make when it comes to being a gig worker and when it comes to doing taxes is listening to other people and unverifiable sources from not checking people's knowledge by making videos as a gig worker, making YouTube videos, and you want to talk about taxes for that matter, and don't know nothing about it, giving out false information, giving out information where you just regurgitating. And I know somebody's going to listen to my video and look at it, and I know they're going to turn around and going to try to make a video putting on makeup and going to swear to God that they took the time to research and make a video talking about it. And not only if you're a gig worker and you say I do Uber and I made this amount of, that's another thing. Don't go on YouTube flashing your money and telling people everything on Facebook and YouTube and everything else, putting down, oh, I drove today, I made $2,000 a week. And you got it all on YouTube and got all on Facebook groups talking about it. Because if you do that consistently and you turn around and you put that Schedule C that you just simply, putting on it, you will get a 1099 from Uber Eats and Grubhub and all those other places. And you'll put that on there. But if you're getting cash tips and you're not reporting those cash tips at all that income that you get on a 1099 miscellaneous coming from Grubhub and Uber Eats and all that. See, the IRS knows there's cash tips that's not accounted for. Because unlike being a waiter and waitress, where some restaurants, they say, how much did you get in cash tips today? Do you want to report it? They actually, like when I worked at Domino's, I actually told them how much cash tips I made every night when I cashed out. And I said, oh, and I put it down there. Some people ain't going to put it on there. Some people just ain't going to say it. They may make $50 in cash tips. They're going to say, do you want to report the cash tips? No. And they don't report that $50. Next thing you know, you got about 200, 300, 400, whatever amount of cash tips, and you never reported anything. No amount of, you can't, don't guess either. Don't make up no number. Don't try to be like, okay, I spoke to a girl the other day. She worked at Waffle House, and I said, okay, you had a W-2, and she's wanting to know where you report the cash. So I said, well, how much cash tips did you make? She said she made $12,500 something dollars in cash tips, or was it 20,000? Whatever it was 12 or 20, one of those. I was like, you made that much money in cash tips? I said, did you report the cash tips when you check out at Waffle House? She said, nope. I just want to be say that's how I made. And she surely did made that much money in cash tips. Every night, she said she makes about $200 in cash tips per day at the Waffle House or something. And she that's what she said. And I told her, way to report the cash tips. And it does ask you, did you get cash tips that's not reported on the W-2? Then you must put down. And she put it down there. I was like, okay. I was kind of surprised because some people would have been like, nah, I ain't made no cash tips. I ain't put nothing down. But let me tell you, everything is, especially now with these systems being digital currency. You know how you could pay with your digital. You don't even have to pay cash anymore for a lot of things. You just go to the go somewhere. Like I've been using Apple Pay and the thing on my phone. I go boop, and it's linked, and it just in my app on the wallet, the wallet. So everything is going to be digitized eventually. It's doing it now. Eventually, the use of cash is not really going to be some. It's going to be phased out in the past. Bitcoin going to be the big thing, you know, digital currency and all that kind of stuff. So those are the things that I would advise what not to do when you're a gig worker when it comes to taxes. So now I'm going to iterate. Keep track of your records. Even if you have to keep it in a book, keep it tracked daily. 2, pay your quarterly estimated taxes. Go to the irs.gov website. Utilize the Gig Economy Tax Center. That is an excellent resource to use. And I'll probably talk about that on another day so I could share my screen and actually show y'all, how to go about it. 3, I don't think I mentioned this. Please educate yourself. You don't have to learn tax code and tax rules and tax things and laws and everything else. Yeah, cash is king, but what's the point, Romeo? That don't mean that's not okay. You always used to throw up stuff that's so irrelevant to what I'm talking about. That's irrelevant. I said digital currency. Digital currency is nothing more than digital cash. So when you talk about cash is king, currency, that's what cash is. Currency is nothing more than currency is nothing more than cash. Whether it be in the form of coins, whether it be in the form of digital, that's still cash. So anyway, what was the other thing I was saying before I was interrupted? Oh, keep track of your records. If you move, please make sure you update your address where you live, especially those who don't have any place permanent to stay. You going from couch to couch and doing van life or whatever it is. Make sure you keep. Oh, hey, no, I'm finished. I'm just on YouTube doing my talking about my little what not to do when you're a gig worker when it comes to taxes. So